YouTubers, Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to continue our lake breakdown series of Lake Lanier. We are all the way over to the offshore stuff now, and we're talking about the south region. We've had several different videos just talking about the offshore spots just in this region because this was such a big area for Lake Lanier. So if you've been following along, we actually started down here by the dam, and we worked our way all the way up to basically about right in here, I think it was. And then we moved our way to here on the video after that. And then from that video, from there, which was the last video, we moved all the way down. We talked about all this stuff out here and we stopped right here. This is where we stopped on our last video. So we've already talked about all this stuff basically out here. So we're just gonna stay on the west side here and talk about all of these and hopefully finish up tonight down around the dam. So let's go ahead and get started. But I guess before we do, just a friendly reminder, go out to the App Store or Google Play, download the Simplistic Fishing app. We not only have Lake Lanier on there for you, but if you get the region, when you hit the subscription, you get the region. That'd be the southeast region that Lanier is in. You not only get Lanier, but you get all kinds of other lakes that are in that region as well. So it's not just a one lake subscription, it's a subscription for that entire region, which is huge. It's like 40 to 50 lakes in your region, and we continue to add more and more every day. Now, if the app's not your thing, maybe you just want these out on your fish finder, we can do that as well. Just go out to simplisticfishing.com, order the SD card. We'll have all this on there for you. You can put your SD card into your graph and import these waypoints in, or we can send you the digital files too, and you can just copy the files to an SD card and put them in the graph that way as well. So lots of different options. We got the app, we got the SD cards, we got the digital files. Go check it out, simplisticfishing.com, and let's go ahead and jump into this thing and finish this thing out. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start right in here. This is where we left off last time, right on the outside of that island. We're on 4 Mile Island, and what we're gonna do is we're basically just gonna work our way up this side to see what we can find here. So I'm gonna zoom in here, and we're gonna get started. So first off, we've got a hump that's over here. This looks good. This is another hump that's right in here too. Look at this nice, long, extended point that's over here. This one looks really good, and it's got a road bed that comes through here. This little blue line is your road bed. Let's see if we can zoom this in a little bit better. This blue line is your road bed right here, and then here's your long point that comes out. Now this is pretty deep, right? 35 foot, something like that. So you may have to get up in here to really be able to find the fish, and then if the water's down, then get back out here. But if you can fish out here or around this road bed, this could be good. But this point looks good too, so don't rule off this point. Like right here where this road bed is, you got some good breaks. You got this flat top here with a really good break off the side of it. So anywhere up in here too could be a good area to take a look at. All right, let's keep moving on. I don't know if we talked about these over here. I think we did before, but let's talk about them really quick just in case we missed them. We talked about these two, I think so, but we talked about this point coming out. And as this point comes out, you can see where they're buoyed, but you got some really good breaks. Yeah, I remember talking about that one. So let's go up here. Let's look at this one. This is that nice rounded one with big breaks. I told you, come in here and look where it starts to taper off. Typically, that's where I'll find them. Not saying that they won't find them out here, but that's usually a good spot right in there where it tapers off to that flat spot. And then, of course, this point looks really good as well. It comes out 10 foot on the top and just looks all kinds of juicy. Let's zoom back here and kind of show you guys where I'm at. So remember, I'm working my way up the 6 Mile Creek area. And as we work our way up here, let's go over to the right side really quick, 4 Mile Creek. And let's take a look at a couple things that we see in here. Now we've got this hump that's right here. This is where we left off just a minute ago. Here's that nice hump that's out there. Look at the contours on that hump. Some major breaks. I mean, it's 14 foot on top, and heck, I don't know how deep that is right there. That's really deep. 37 to 40 foot, all the way up to, 13 foot on the top. So pretty impressive little area there. As we go through here, there are lots of different spots I would love to mark for you, but again, I can't mark them all, right? We'd have 1,000 different waypoints on here. But as we go through in these videos and I see a few things that maybe I missed or I should have considered, I want to definitely point them out to you. So hopefully you can take advantage of not only getting the waypoints from us, but also, reviewing the video and kind of putting it all together. So a couple things I want to point out here. One's going to be down here on this left side. See where this nice flat is back here? And the huge break that you have right in there? So fishing along that break or along this point could be definitely good for you guys. Also out here, this nice flat top point. Usually I'll mark all those, but that one I missed. You might want to take a look at that. And then if you come up here, if you're paying attention, you can really see, you got to pay really close attention. There's a creek channel right here where my finger is. And I'm running through that creek channel. I kind of lose it right here. So let's zoom in here. See if maybe we can see it a little bit better now. Still can't see it. It just kind of ran into here and we lost it. But it's somewhere in here. It's through all these contours. It's right around in here. So maybe this point right here, because you've got a creek channel that comes down here, and then another one that's coming down through here. And somewhere they're meeting somewhere and connecting. So it's either going to be off this point or maybe off of this point as well. But this area in here, it's got a lot of creek channel action going on. There's really nowhere I can really, put a waypoint at for you, but I would start probably over here and just check around here. And if that didn't work, I would come over here and check around, these areas in here. All right, let's move on up and see what else we got on this 4 mile side. Cool looking hump that's out here, right? But look at that break that's on the outside of this point that's here. So you got this nice hump, but 11 foot, and then a nice like saddle area that goes right in between, and it has really good depth. So that looks really good. Another area I probably should have marked definitely would be this point here. Just the way that it sets up looks really awesome. Plus you've got this nice little hump out here. It's 6 foot, and then it has a major drop. But the main thing that I like about this, again, is this creek channel that comes through here. And it gets fairly close to this point. So that's why I should have marked that point. So definitely write that one down as a possible good spot. Here's a deeper spot you can look at too at 29 foot, really close to that creek channel. Then we get over here and we see the ones that I did mark here. This one looks really good. This long little point that comes out here with massive drops off the side of it. This point here looks really good. You got a submerged bridge back there that you could take a look at. And then if we move on up here, we've got this little point that sticks out here that I really like it too, just because it's just the way that it's situated. Now you might also want to look right in here, because depending on where that creek channel goes, it looks like it swings out here, maybe swings out around here, and then comes back up and might touch like right in here. I bet if we went back and looked at the hard spots, we'd find some hard spots in that area. All right, let's move down. So we're coming back down 4 mile, right? Now we're going to go up 6 mile and see what we can find in 6 mile. First off, we got a nice little hump. We always like those humps. There's a nice point there too. I think we already talked about that one. Let's go back over here. This says submerged vegetation. I don't remember seeing a lot of vegetation from the satellite imagery, but there could be vegetation there. I just can't see it. So you may want to check this out, because if there is emergent vegetation, if there is vegetation in here, this would be a pretty cool point to take a look at. Plus you've got that whole thing I was telling you about earlier where that flat is with the nice breaks. You got a good point here, a really good point here with some really good break offs, a nice point that's up here. This nice little rounded point here just makes a really nice sharp point. As we get up in here, we're going to look at the rest of the ones that we have up in this area. I want to zoom into this one because I really liked it. It like jumped out at me when I was looking at the map. I was like, dang, look at that one. That looks really cool. Just a really awesome like break right in there. So take a look at that one. This one, probably a community hole, looks like a perfect point that's just setting out there. Plus you've got a bridge out there you can go mess around with, and you got this roadbed you can go check out while you're there. Then we get up in here, some really cool looking stuff. The contours on this lake are just really, really awesome. I love them. So you got this point that comes out here. This is the road. That blue line's gonna be a road. Another point here with some really good breaks. Those docks are in some pretty good depth. I really like the way those docks set up right in there. Also over here, the way this little point comes off with a good break in there. You got this point over here you could come check out. Just some good stuff back in there. And then we're gonna move over here, go farther up this creek. Just looking at some of these areas in here, I may check out this right here, possibly, but I really like the ones that we have marked. Obviously this one right here is gonna be good. I like it. I like this one, the way that it's really flat on this side and then it has that massive break that's right there. Let's see if I can zoom this in. You guys can see it right there. It's taking a minute to catch up with me here. All right, and then we got this little point that's over here too. Now you could check out here, and if that's good, you may want to zoom over here and try this right here. Some pretty good looking stuff. And oh, by the way, look how deep those docks are. Those are some pretty good looking docks right there and right there as well. I try not to point out the docks too much because I don't want somebody to yell at me and say, hey, stop telling people to fish my docks. But sometimes you just put your docks in magical spots. All right, let's look right here. I like this, right? You got this little flat area back in here, really sharp breaks right here, and then it kind of comes off. So anywhere in this little area could be a good area to find them. You got that submerged bridge that's back there as well you could take a look at. Let's move on up here. And the last thing we have up here is just this point that's up here. Now there's probably a lot of other things we could look at when we come up here, like this point here could come into play. Obviously fishing around those bridges is gonna come into play. Here's a point up here that we could have marked, but I like this one. This one I like the way it sets up. I like where it's at. It's fairly close to the creek channel. It's kind of the first point they come into. If they were coming back into the creek, this would be the first place they would stop before they went either way. So that's why I really like the way that sets up. All right, let's move this back. We've gone up into 6 Mile, so now we got to come all the way back down 6 Mile. And this is where we're going to get all confused because that island confuses me. So we're out of 6 Mile. Let's zoom in right here. Let's talk about these areas. I think we've already talked about these areas over here off this little island, but let's talk about it real quick. You know, you've got those little humps that are off the side of the island, or maybe just the extension of the island, but those all look really good with really good breaks around them. You got another hump that's out here. You got a really good point that comes out here with 2 little fingers on it. Both of them have fishing marks on them, which usually means they're pretty good spots. Also means that typically they're going to be community spots because people have marked them like that. But you do have them all out here. Look at these little points that are out here. All kinds of good stuff. I zoom in. You can see it gets a little bit better when I zoom in. Now you can really tell why I marked them. Now while you're out here fishing this, if you don't find them out here, come up here because you have a lip that's right here too that looks pretty juicy. You've also got another point maybe that you could come over here. Looks like you got some flooded timber back in here you could look at. You could come out here and maybe look at this little area right in here. Doesn't look like much from a contour spot, but it's definitely some kind of a hump, probably a hard spot out there in the middle of the lake. This could be one of those little hidden gems, or even that little point right there. So those are the types of things that you want to look for when you're going through there. But hopefully these spots that I've showed you so far are gonna help you get on some fish. All right, let's keep moving down here. Let's see what else we got. We've got another road bed coming across the hump. We know those are magical spots. And that one's even got the fish on it. We move over here, we're just kind of following this road bed. It also comes through here, so you could check right in here possibly. Look at this little hump here, it goes to 22 foot, and it's probably 10 foot on top or something like that. Another hump here, it's at 20 foot, breaks down to like 50 foot. And then of course the saddles are always good areas to fish, so you'll want to check out that saddle that's in that area. Some really good points that are up here, right? You got a good point here. It says there's flooded timber in here. That point didn't really do much for me. It's super deep out here. You got a hump out here you could possibly look at, and right in here. But I guess if I went back and were to mark this all again, I would have marked here as well. And I'll zoom over here and show you why. Because you've got this nice little break going on right out here off this thing. And it says there's flooded timber in here. I don't know if it's in here or if it's in here, where it's at, because we're not looking at it from a satellite imagery perspective, but I would definitely check those out. And then we move back here, we got that nice little point back there you can see. That just looks like a perfect secondary point that they would stop at, going in, going back and forth behind that, you know, to the back of that cove. I could definitely see them stopping right there on that point. All right, let's go on. That point looks good, but I think it was really deep if I remember right. This one was like 30 something foot, so that's gonna be way deeper than we wanna go fish. At least for now, for this breakdown. But if the water was down, you may want to go check this out because it does stick out there. Around this island too, you might want to check out the outside edge, but this could be like striper fishing and stuff like that. I mean, they're getting way out there. They're in 40 something foot of water out there, 30 something foot of water. I like this area right here. This is more kind of in my area, you know, 25, 30 foot max kind of, and moving back up. So I really like this because it has this point here with the really big drops. But then it also has this little ridge that extends out here and it has these nice little tabletops on them. So I liked that. And then I didn't mark it, but you want to look at this saddle because if you look at the saddle here, it also has a road bed that comes through here. That point also has a road bed that's on it too. So some good stuff to take a look at there. All right. Let's keep moving back here. Now, I did mention we do have the bridges marked, so you could check out some of these submerged bridges. We've got that point right there that's got a really nice road bed going off the edge of it as well. And if we come out here into the middle, Let's zoom back here and show you guys where I'm at. Keep my finger where I'm at so don't forget. We're right here. So if you come out right there, you've got those humps that are out there. Probably community spots. Just the way they set up's perfect. They're right on the edge of the river channel. So you're gonna have some really big breaks there. You're gonna have some rocks there. You're gonna have a lot of bait fish there. There's just gonna be a lot of action in that area. So this area right in here is gonna be good. You wanna look at all three of those spots right in there and see what you can find. All right, let's move up here. We talked about that point. We're gonna come into this area, talk about a few more in here. Same type things, right? You can see where I've got them marked. This long point out here with good breaks. We come up here. We've got some really good points and some really good humps. That point looks good. I guess this is more of a hump. This is a hump coming off the edge of that point, but that point could be too good too. It's 12 foot there and then it has a good break. If you follow in that little dotted line, that's your creek channel. So you kind of want to pay attention where that goes. And anywhere it gets close, you want to fish there. Well, that right there looks like a good spot. This right here as well. You can even come over here off this point and take a look at that. Let's move back a little bit further in here. See what else we got back in here. We got some good points that are out here, 16 foot. There's some good stuff going on there. I don't know what the heck's going on top of that point, but some crazy contours. You've got another points over here you could check a look at. If these long extended points are working for you, there's a good one there. There's a really good one here with some really good breaks. Up here, I marked this. This is kind of one of those little hidden spots. It's not as obvious as all the others, but if you look at it, it's only 12 foot on top. And so with another area you may want to look at would be right in here where this island comes up. It's very shallow, right? It's 2-3 foot probably, but it has a pretty good little break that comes off here. So if you're looking out here maybe at this hump, might want to take a look at that as well. All right, let's move up here, see what else we got up here. Hopefully we can get all this done in one video. I thought I could. I'm at 17 minutes. We got 13 minutes left. We got to rock and roll. So let's keep going and see what we got. All right, good points, good tabletop right there. Another good point right there. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Don't want to get too far out. Nice little flat top right there. This point, I mean, they could be up here or they could be further out. There's another hump that's out here that has really good breaks all around it. Also up here, you're starting to look, but I think you can see, but see this road bed and all these submerged bridges? Sometimes those submerged bridges can be a lot of fun with A-rigs, especially if you guys have any type of spotted bass or something like that that like to get out there deep and roam around in the really deep water. Those can be really good places to look at. You've also got a nice spot right here. And then we move up, you can see here some really good points right here with that road bed going really close to it. A little fishing spot right here. I mean, you can see this is a giant, like huge underwater point that comes out. You may even go up here by where this buoy is. Nice little breaks in there, like right in there too. There's so much stuff on this lake. And then moving over here to the left side, if we just look at this area really quick, you can just see, I mean, look at this one. This point comes out and has a massive break right off the edge of it. You've got a nice point here. You've got this dock, these docks that are just setting up in primo position because this creek bed's coming down and getting really close to them. So there's probably all kinds of good stuff here. Submerged bridges back here. Another good point back here, another good point right in here. Just this little area's got lots of different stuff to fish around. You got lots of docks to fish around. You got all kinds of cool little breaks and things like that. I really like this area of the lake and getting back in there. It just seems like you got a lot of opportunities. So we went through those. We talked about all those. Let's go back down here through the creek. And we're going to go back out here to the front. Guys, we are close. We are one more cove away from wrapping this puppy up. We may have talked about these. I'm getting confused on which ones I've talked about and which ones I haven't. So if I'm repeating myself, my apologies, but I want to make sure we point them out. But look at these juicy spots right here. Good flat tops on them, massive breaks all around them. You probably got community stuff going on here. You see all kinds of, there's some goodness going on around in that area. So we'll go on in here. You can see where we are. There's the park right there, Tywell Park. You got a good point here. Look at the massive breaks coming off that point, extends way out. As we move over here, there is this road bed here that goes out, but it doesn't really come that close to the island. It gets a little bit close, but if I'm fishing around that island, I'm probably gonna come back here and fish around this area. Then we're gonna come out here around Rocky Point. I bet it's rocky. I bet there's a hard spot there. There's a fish icon there. So there's definitely a spot there as well that I put because one, there's a fish icon there, but two, just look at the contours. It just sets up perfectly. It's a nice little point, and it's called Rocky Point, so it's got to be good. Another point that's over here as well. And then as we move in here, let's take a look at some of this stuff. Lots of fish icons around here. Really good point right here. Like that one. I like this one too. It's got a nice little hook to it. This is a nice little rounded point with some good breaks on it. One of those said it was a brush pile. I can't remember which one, so I went ahead and marked it. This is interesting out here. This is one of those little places where, like, you don't notice there's a point there. You wouldn't even know there was an underwater point there unless you were looking at the contour map. And that's why I like it, because it might not stand out to people as much as some of this other stuff. So probably look in there and just see what you can find. You've got really good breaks on both sides, a lot sharper on this side. Out here, this is something funky going on here. I couldn't tell what it was. I went ahead and marked it, but check here. And if that's too far out and too deep, you can pull up and look around this point. Then let's go on up in here. See if I can get this zoomed in about right. We got some more goodness, right? Really good points, good breaks. Another flat point right in there. I mean, we're talking pretty shallow, and then boom, a nice little break right off the edge of it. I don't know if that's a dock or what that is that's out there, but there's something out there. Maybe it's a fishing pier or something. And then let's move on up here. Now, obviously there's more stuff I could have marked in here because we're getting into some pretty crazy contours. So I want to just point out a couple things here. One's going to be down here. I like this point down here where this buoy is. So maybe looking around in here. Then as we move up, crazy contours all around here. We've got a hump that's out here. And this, look at the break on this puppy. So very shallow, drops to about 20 feet or so, then comes out and flattens out and then breaks again. And it's on the edge of this creek. That says the creek channel's right here. I bet the creek channel swings up just based on look at the contours. The creek channel swings up and touches the edge of that. So right in there could be the juice. All right, let's move on up in here, see what else we got. A couple good spots up in here. Some good points with good breaks. You can see them all. Then we get back in here, nice little secondary points back in here. 6 foot, and then a big break, same type thing. Look at this right here. This is like an old pond, more than likely. And so this is your pond dam. I should have marked that for sure. I should take that marker and put it right there because that's probably a good spot right there. We have several spots like that in our Texas lakes, and those are usually pretty good gems to find when you can find those old pond dams. All right, let's move this on up and finish this video out. We got a couple more things here. We got a nice point here, another one here. We're getting back in here into this marina. There's some submerged bridges and things like that to fish back in there. I don't think I marked anything offshore, but I had a couple back in here. One, I marked this dock because somebody put a fish on it. It says good dock to fish, so I marked it. So that dock owner is not going to like me. And then we've got a couple more here. This nice point that comes out. Look at the breaks off the edge of this point. This one too. It's got a sharp break right there, and it's also got a sharp break right here. And then if you're there fishing around, come on over here and take a look and see if that roadbed can produce anything for you too. And let's move down. Don't think we've covered these yet. Here's another roadbed coming across the top of that point. The top of that point's got a nice flat top to it, and then it breaks really, really sharp. So anywhere around that point or right on that break, this is a little underwater point that comes way out here. So I like that one too. You're only talking 13, 14 foot out here. And then a nice little hump that's out there too. This Little Ridge Island that I'm around now. Then we're gonna come on down this backside. I already talked to you guys about that point. That one really stood out to me. Probably should have marked that one. You got another one probably right in here that might be worthy of looking at. And then of course we talked about out here. If you come out here, take a look at that, but also don't forget to come up here and just look in that area and see if you can find anything in that area. All right, let's go down a little bit more. We got another little point right there. We get around this island. I didn't mark anything around this island, but if I were forced to fish around the island, I'd probably start right here because it's got that nice flat top on it with some good breaks. Plus it's kind of close to the saddle between the islands. So maybe somewhere in there, some submerged bridges, a good little point that's out in here too. I like this one, 12 foot on top. Then it breaks down to another tabletop and then goes down. And this usually means there's an obstruction there. So there's something there right off the edge of that of that underwater point. Plus, you got that roadbed, right? Here's that roadbed. So fish this, and then come up here and see if there's any debris or anything left from that roadbed. If there is, it could be juicy, and you could even come over here and fish the top of this island too and see if you could find anything out there. That island's got a couple spots I could have marked as well, like right here. I don't know how deep that is, 10 foot, but that's got a really good break there, 10 foot down to 33 foot. Jack Mask Island, pretty cool little island. Then as we come down here, that pretty much leaves us with no more markers left to talk about, but I'm gonna go ahead and point out a few more because it wouldn't be a video without me pointing out a couple extras. How about this one right here? This point like here looks good. This could be an interesting hump out here at 21 foot. And then this spot right here, it's deep for sure, but I bet it's got like current, all kinds of stuff, probably rock. I don't know how far, you probably can't fish too close to here, but looks like it's buoyed off right in here, but maybe like right in there, here in this area, or coming up here closer to the point and fishing right around here where this little break is. It does look like there's a fish attractor. It's hidden, but it looks like there's a fish attractor right here, and we'll have that marked on the Google Earth side, so you'll definitely be able to see that as well. Now, maybe you can't even, hopefully you can fish in here. I see these buoys marked off, so hopefully you can still get that. I guess that's just the buoys for going back in there, so you definitely can fish right in there and find that fish attractor. That's probably going to be a pretty good little fish attractor. Be going and check it out. All right, guys, I hope this has helped you. Please, please leave me a comment below. Let me know if this is helpful for you guys or not. We'll continue to do the breakdown for Lake Lanier. That finishes us up for the south section for the offshore side, and then we've already done all of the Google Earth stuff for Lake Lanier. So now it is time to move on to our next region on Lanier. So when you come back, we'll be talking about the next region and see what else we can find on this lake. Don't forget to go out, check out our website, simplisticfishing.com. Make sure to download our app, Simplistic Fishing. It's out on the Apple Store and Google Play. And number one, make sure to go out and catch your PB this weekend. Guys, until next time, have a good one.